Thank you, Jeff. Well, friends, welcome to Meeting for Worship this Christmas morning. If you're interested in that song, you can find it on YouTube. It's called 1,000 Years, and it's performed by a group called the Piano Guys. I first learned of it a few weeks ago, and something clicked in my mind, and I thought the first opportunity I had to share that with Meeting for Worship, I wanted to do that. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. We've asked Jan Baker this morning to read from the Gospel of Luke, the Christmas story. Jan, if you're ready.
Okay. I'm reading from Luke, the 2nd chapter, 1 through 7. At that time, Emperor Augustus ordered a census to be taken throughout the Roman Empire. When this first census took place, Quirinius was the governor of Syria. Everyone then went to register himself, each to his own hometown. Joseph went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to the town of Bethlehem in Judea, the birthplace of King David. Joseph went there because he was a descendant of David. He went to register with Mary, who was promised in marriage to him. She was pregnant, and while they were in Bethlehem, the time came for her to have her baby. She gave birth to her first son, wrapped him in cloths, and laid him in a manger. There was no room for them to stay in the inn.
Thank you, Jan. I wanted to share a little essay I've written. I've had 3 interesting experiences with Santa Claus recently, and I wanted to, so I wrote an essay about it. And I'll share that with you now. A little levity for our, amidst all the stress of the holidays. I was browsing through a book recently and saw a picture of a black Santa Claus, which seemed unusual since all the Santas I've ever known were white as chalk. Technically, since Santa isn't real, he could be any color, or a she for that matter. But whenever I think of Santa, I think white, male, old, and jolly. Unless it's a Santa in a discount store. Then I think wino and a white beard stained yellow with nicotine. Nevertheless, I'm all in favor of black Santas, and apparently so is Disney, who just this past year, for the first time, had black Santas at their theme parks, even though they got nasty emails from Grinches who said Santa should be white. I hope the Grinches got coal for Christmas. When I was a kid, and again when my own children were small, my father would hire Santa to appear at my parents' house on Christmas Eve. It was the same Santa every year, though I never learned his identity, just that every Yuletide, his nose grew more veiny, red, and bulbous, a drinker's nose, accompanied with a smoker's hack. He would stay no longer than 15 minutes, and rather asking the children what they wanted, would dole out advice, counseling against marriage. They end up breaking your heart and taking all your money and voting for Democrats. They end up breaking your heart and taking all your money. I was well into my adult years before realizing Santa wasn't supposed to smell like Jack Daniels and cry. Let's be honest, old white males have lately fallen out of favor, even the jolly ones. So I'm more than willing for Santa to be black in hopes of boosting the Santa brand. A black Santa with a James Earl Jones or Morgan Freeman vibe, or maybe a Denzel Washington type for those mothers who want to sit on Santa's lap. Last Christmas, I would have floated Will Smith as Santa, but then he clobbered Chris Rock at the Oscars. And once you do that, you can't pull on a red suit and pretend nothing has changed. After seeing the picture of a black Santa, it occurred to me how odd it must have felt for a black child, born when I was, to sit on a white man's lap and expect anything good to come of it. If I were a black child in the 1960s, You couldn't have paid me to sit on a white Santa's lap. Do you remember all the pictures from the 1950s and 60s of children waiting in line to see Santa? None of those kids were Black. You can trust me on this. I Googled it. Black children don't appear in department store Santa lines until the 1970s and 80s. While we're reimagining Santa, let's open the door to women Santas. No more Mrs. Claus looking timidly on from the sidelines. Let's bring her front and center. Surely some woman out there has a red nose and smells like Jack Daniels. Let's ditch the elves while we're at it. I haven't yet seen an elf that didn't look a little creepy in their skin-tight leotards and pointy hats. Elves are people who can't get a job doing anything else. Another reason I'm eager to open the field to Black Santas is because I have been poorly served by white Santas. Growing up, I never, not once, got anything I had ever asked for from Santa. When I was 6, I was taken to see Santa at the Danner's Five and Dime in Danville. It turned out to be Vern Gibson, the store manager, though I didn't realize that at the time. Anyway, I sat on his lap and asked for a bicycle, but got school shoes instead. That same year, my brother Doug asked for a football and got a pineapple. A pineapple, what the heck? I was annoyed with Santa for most of my life until last year when I saw him at a store, chatting with a bevy of deaf children using sign language, balancing them one at a time on his lap, no doubt promising them the moon, though it appeared from their smiles they'd already gotten it. I stopped and watched. Just the day before, I had asked Santa for a little more love in the world, and here it was, right in front of me. 61 years, I've been waiting for Santa to bring me what I asked for, and he finally delivered. Well, I hope Santa delivered for all of you this year. I echo what Mike said. The being able to gather on Christmas morning and see your faces and hear your voices is the finest gift of all. It makes me at this time of year especially grateful for the gift of our community, for the friendships and love and compassion we share with one another and hope to extend to this world. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your day, and let's just open our mics so we can all chat a little bit before we go back to our families and our attendant duties. Jeff, thank you for heading this fine effort up. Jan, thank you for reading scripture. And let's chat and visit friends.